So, what is centrifugation? Centrifugation is a technique used for the separation of particles from a solution according to their size, shape, density, and viscosity of the medium and rotor speed. So, the particles are suspended in a liquid medium and placed in a centrifuge tube. The tube is then placed into a rotor and spun at a defined speed. Separation through sedimentation could be done naturally with the Earth's gravity. Nevertheless, it would take ages. So, centrifugation is making that natural process much faster.
Centrifuge meaning is a device that separates from a solution through use a rotor. These particles are cells, subcircular organelles, or large molecules. There are two types of centrifuge procedures: preparative, analytical. Preparative is to isolate specific, while analytical involves measuring physical properties of the sedimenting particles. As a rotor spins in a centrifuge, a centrifugal force is applied to each particle in the sample. The particles will the sediment, and the rate that is proportional the centrifugal force applied to it. The viscosity of the sample solution, the physical properties of the particles also affect the sedimentation rate of each article. At a fixed centrifugal force and liquid viscosity, the sedimentation rate of a particle is proportional to size, molecular weight, and to the difference between the particle density and the density of the solution.
Two forces counteract the centrifugal force acting on the suspended particles, and there are two parts of it, and it's called a buoyant force and a frictional force. And buoyant force is comes from the pressure exerted on the object with the fluid. Because the pressure increases as the depth increases, the pressure on the bottom of an object is always larger than the force on the top, and that is a buoyant forces. And the frictional force is the force of friction is generally independent on the contact area between the two surfaces. That is a frictional force. And this means that even if you have two heavy objects of the same mass, where one is a half as long and twice as high as the other one, they still experience the same frictional force. That is a frictional force.
Centrifugation, speed and time. Centrifugation, speed and time are not critical factors in routine sample handlings. So this is a procedure involving a beanstalk microcentrifuge. Usually, as long as speed and time are sufficient to ensure that cell, debris or resin are related effectively, it does not matter if the speed is faster or the time longer than necessary. For this reason, many protocols do not specify a particular centrifugal force to be applied, but instead some general guidelines such as centrifuge at high speed for 1 minute. So that's all.
Sedimentation. This can be used to separate the material from the liquid, but what will we do if the suspended material is very light? It will take days to settle. In such cases, we can use the process of centrifugation to quicken the process of sedimentation.
In a process of centrifugation, particles holds higher density than that of the solvent sink, and the particles that lighter that it floats to the top. To take advantage of even tiny difference in the density, separate various particles in the solution. Gravity can replace with a much more power called centrifugal force, provided by a centrifuge. Example, rocks and water. The higher density is rocks and the lighter density is water. That's why rocks is sink in the water. If there are difference of density, the particles stay steady.
Let us conduct an experiment to see centrifugation.
For this, we need a handy centrifuge machine, muddy water, mixture of calcium carbonate in water, 4 centrifuge test tube. First thing to do is take the sample of muddy water and place the test tubes in the centrifuge machine. And now take the calcium hydroxide mixture in the test tubes and also place them in the centrifuge machine. Rotate the machines fast for a few minutes. Stop rotating. Remove the test tubes and observe. We see mud particles and white precipitate have settled in each of the test tubes. This is the process of centrifugation.
As you can see, centrifugation is the process where a mixture is separated through spinning. Centrifugation is used in diagnostic labs for blood and urine tests.